So, creating a culture of belonging. My favorite quote about culture, first of all, is from Professor Hermina Ibarra from London Business School. And she talks about you don't get to like create culture, you only get to evolve it. And I think that is so important when we're thinking about culture in organizations. You know, we want to just snap our fingers. And unless you're starting something from scratch, brand new, right, that's creating it. But most of the time, we're evolving culture. And there's a whole periphery about where you're stepping into the culture, right? Are you stepping into a toxic culture? Are you stepping into a culture that's already doing okay? So, what's important when you think about culture and trying to shape it? What are the things that stand out for you?
Yeah, I think exactly what you say. A culture's a living thing, so it's constantly growing, evolving, and moving. But the big things, yeah, that's really important is sometimes, generally it does take quite a long time before you actually see.
Are we talking about months, weeks, years?
Yeah, certainly going into months generally. I'm thinking specifically about football and my experiences now. So it can take, certainly can take months before you see the real sort of fruits of your labour, if you like, and sometimes you've been doing a lot of hard work and what you think are the right things, and you're not seeing it immediately, and it can be really, really frustrating.
Have you ever seen a turning point, kind of, you know, if we're thinking about culture along a perspective, like a culture where it shifts from like being pretty good to, you know, even great or high performing?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, back to my experiences. I mean, I think back to working with Wales with Chris Coleman and the qualification for the 2016 Euros. We obviously things had been really good under Gary Speed, going in the right direction. Then obviously a huge tragedy, which is a nation in mourning basically, and then Chris had to sort of try and pick up the pieces, and it was very, very difficult. And like I say, the work Gary was doing was brilliant, so we didn't want to try and change too much initially, but then results weren't going our way at all. So Chris had to make a decision to, and it was only quite a slight shift, but to do things really his way, rather than just to continue the work that had gone on. And you think as well also that there are defining moments quite often. You look back after the event and you think, well, that was a real key point. And I think in that, you know, people remember Wales 2016 getting to the semi-finals, brilliant. Yeah. But I remember the first game of qualifying, we played Andorra away. They just laid a new AstroTurf pitch, which was full of rubber crumb, and it was really spongy. It was horrible. Just as a assistant, just to walk out on the pitch, it's horrible. So for the boys playing on it, it wasn't great at all. I remember we went 1-0 down to a dodgy penalty, and Andorra were was set up to be the whipping boys of the group, really. So you've got to get a win home and away against them. So we're 1-0 down. Gareth Bale, I think, scores a header with 1-1. And then we're going into probably last 10, 15 minutes of the game, and 1-1 away to Andorra is not a good result for the first game in qualification.
Yeah.
Get a free kick. Gareth hits it against the wall, Gareth Bale, and you hardly ever see it, but the referee made us retake it because he said the wall had encroached, which it had, but you very rarely, the referees make that decision. So we took it again, this time top corner, and we go on and win the game. So it's I think that defining moment of the referee making the free kick be retaken and then Gareth Bale scoring, if that hadn't have happened, it could have been it would have been a very, very different story. So that was a real defining moment for me, yeah.
Yeah. So what I love about this story, right, is there's this transition from one leader who was greatly admired to the next, right? And you're trying to build a culture, yet you know you have to do something a bit different, even though it was going well. But it was like, how can I do even more that's even more authentic to who we want to be as a team and players and a coaching, staff. So that's kind of a great, we're okay and we're doing even better now in our culture. Have you ever had a time when maybe it wasn't so well, when the, bad, toxic culture?
Yeah, certainly I've had that, and it's obviously a very different thing then. When it's so bad, it's sort of easier in a lot of ways because it's quite obvious things are not going well, and and quite often what it is. I think you need to be quite specific then about the first things that you're going to change, sort of make that decision. And I had a situation where players had been completely ostracised and were made to train on their own. A group of three of them, and to straight away try and bring them back into the fold, make it a collective, make everyone feel part of it. So it's very different approaches. Like I say, if you're taken over from something that is toxic and is so bad, you need to address those things straight away and just make it a better environment where people actually want to go in to work every day. And this being a football club, there's nothing worse than driving in and thinking, I don't want to be here today.
Yeah.
And that's how it was. And so
also happens in the corporate world, right? You got that commute in and you're like, I don't want to be here. That's a key, toxic culture. Don't want to be there.
And that's an easy sort of way of judging it. If people feel like that, then things are not right, and things need to change. So that was the thing, try and put a smile on people's faces, make them proud of the company, the business, the football club that they're part of, and put a smile on people's faces. Very important.
Yeah, so between welcoming people back in, making everybody in the organization, regardless of position, that they want to be there, those are the two areas where you were like, if I'm going to address a toxic culture, that's where I'd start.
Those were the first things. Those two things were glaring at me, and so I had to address them straight away.
Yeah, and I think that the fact that you were like, I am going to address them straight away, right, and not letting sweep them under the rug, so to speak. I think that's what leadership is about, right? Can you take those glaring things and you're not closing your eyes at them, and you do something about them?
100%. Yeah, it's sometimes you got to make big calls, big decisions. But I think I certainly knew deep down that was the right way to go about it, the right thing to do, and you need to have the courage of your convictions.